Hello, everybody. I'm here because I wanted to talk about Atomic Picnic and kind of give my 2 cents, or basically my review on the game. Now, if you're here to find out whether I enjoyed the game or not, just to kind of get it out of the way, I love the game. This is a great game, and I think it's worth supporting. Even if that's why you're here, well, there you go. And if you want to listen to why I think this game's great, or what I believe needs to be improved, then stick around because I'm going to go into more detail about the game and what it has to it. Right now, to start it off, the game is still in early access, and the they release this game into early access like you should, a way to support the devs for a game that they want to complete, and the resources that go into early access allow them to finish some goals that they have in mind. Now, Atomic Picnic is essentially just a third-person roguelike survival game, right? Or survival shooter, similar to like a Risk of Rain. They also have some similarities to Vampire Survivor. Basically, enemies spawn. The longer you stay in the run, the stronger the enemies get. They get increasingly difficult over time. It is a fast-paced, objective-based game. So whenever you enter a run, there's objectives you have to do, and they're gonna show up on the kind of like the top right here. And some of them are like, hey, reach level 10, or destroy these pillars, or destroy these many enemies. So you do those objectives as fast as you can through the run, so you can get to the boss and beat the game in a short amount of time. Or if you want, you can just stick around and farm all day. Now, the combat, like I said, very similar to Risk of Rain, with a loot system that reflects Vampire Survivor a lot. And what I mean by that is they have this little chest that kind of spawns. You do an objective, which is stay inside the circle until the timer runs down. And Taka-chan, which is the name of the chest, and it's kind of funny because he does this little dance when you open them. Go ahead and open them up. Now you have a probability of getting 1, 3, or 5 perks from this chest, very similar to a Vampire Survivor, where you can get 1, 3, or 5 of the perks. Now here they call the perks curios. Essentially, the song plays and you can get anywhere between 1 to 5, and that's basically the same loot system that Vampire Survivor had, which is really cool. Now, let's go ahead and get into the game. Let's talk about the graphics of the game. I think the graphics have a very similar art style to Fortnite, but with an anime flair to it. You can tell by the character's eyes, and then you can also see how the scenery is very similar to what you'd see in a Fortnite map. But the amount of detail they put into the scenery is, I think, is better. You can see like very detailed stitching, and you can also see the pockets, as well as some article on the clothing of the character. The 3D design of the game, I think, is very well done. It's very detailed and it looks good. In a way, the anime flair, the anime twist they gave to the artistic style kind of makes it stand out from most of the other games that you probably find in roguelike genres. Although when we talk about roguelikes, you normally have like this top-down view of the game. Not many have come to be as well known as Risk of Rain, with a third-person, over-the-shoulder shooter like this game also. So I think Atomic Picnic does an amazing job with their artistic style and standing out from most other roguelikes. Now, well, another thing I'd like to talk about is the music and the sound effects the game has to offer. Every gun sounds pretty nice. The assault rifle, prap prap prap, sounds really good, right? 6 sounds. You got some other weapons like the grenade launcher. And I think the sound effects are great. The explosions sound good. The zip line that you can do, the little triple jump, some of the explosions all sound really nice. There's a pretty cool crit sound that you get when, of course, you crit me. That's also it's very nice to hear. Oh look, I got a little disco ball. So I think the sound of the game is great. Now let's talk about the music. The music at the moment only has 3 tracks. They do plan on adding more, but let's just talk and focus on these 3 tracks for now. They're all really good. You have this chill song playing in the background. People have compared it to like a Brazilian music. I don't know how that sounds. To me, this just kind of sounds like smooth jazz, which is really good. It's very comforting, very relaxing, and the beat's really nice. Now you get into a run, the beat completely changes. It's more upbeat, it's more intense. It gets you into the feel of being in a run, being having to hunt monsters and murder the shit out of them. After that, you get into the boss fight, and the boss fight is where the music really hits. The music completely changes into this like punk pop rock type song, but it's got like a Japanese vocals to it, and it sounds like you're in an anime. You're in the anime, and it's really cool. It's a really good song too. I know a lot of people have been requesting to just have that song so they can go ahead and just listen to the beats. So like they're trying to add it on Spotify or stuff like that to get a license, or to go ahead and just listen to the song regularly, because in all honesty, that song is really good. Then, not to like completely overshadow the other 2 songs, which are also good, that boss fight it hits so good. All right, we'll go ahead and continue here. So we kind of talked about the music and the sound design of the game. Really good. At the moment, the game has no story to talk about, but it's in early access. They did say that they will include a story into the game, but they're kind of keeping it a little secret, so we don't have anything yet, and I can't spoil anything for anybody because no one tells me anything. But from what I can make out, if you look around the camp, you can find out a few things. Now, I've created my own little headcanon, my own head lore to think about like what kind of backstories these characters have and what they're doing. So I can already tell Bonnie, like, she makes food. she owns a little garden, although her vegetable patch looks a little questionable. I'm not really gonna want to eat from that garden, but she seems to be like the person that grows the food. I don't really know too much about other than that. We can head over here to JD. He seems to be a very scientific guy. He invents stuff, he creates things. I have a feeling he's the reason we have most of our weapons, because you can see right here, that's the actual design of the assault rifle that I'm currently holding. He also seems to be into music, which is kind of cool, because it's funny because his name's JD, like a DJ. Ha ha ha. Either way, that's what I can kind of make out for him. Then we got Hani over here. Hani seems to be like some kind of construction specialist type deal. I have a feeling that Hani basically makes most of the stuff in the area that we when it comes to the building or the structures, while JD makes all the tech. And then we come up here and we have a character that we cannot play yet, but we do know that her name is Rose, and I believe she's the leader of this group, of these band of people, and she looks awesome. I'm really excited to play that character because she's gonna be releasing soon. I don't know if she's releasing on 1.0 of the game, basically the release of the game, or if she's releasing before that. Either way, excited to play her. Can't wait to hopefully learn more. Hopefully she gets released in some lore. We head over here and we have the character that we are using. Now, this is something I've kind of decided on my own based on what I see around here. She's not doing anything. She's just laying there. Does this mean she's like the lazy character of the group? No, absolutely not. I have a feeling that she is the main hunter or the scout of the group. So right now we're in camp, so she's relaxing and sleeping because they're about to send her ass out. She's the one that mainly goes out there. She hunts and collects. That's what I get from this scene here. Now, other than that, there's not much else I can tell you about the game. There is something over here which I've kind of created my own reason as to why this exists. Now, these guys are either like mercenaries, bounty hunters, or some kind of they basically go out to seek and find people. Now, I don't know if this marks that they murdered the shit out of these two, or if they've gone missing, or if they've already captured them, right? But from what I understand, we are on this island, this place, because this guy is here and we're currently looking for him. Now, my headcanon is those are mad scientists and we're hunting them down to arrest or murder the shit out of them. I'm not sure, but that's what exists in my head for now until I get some story. Or that's what it looks like at least. Okay, so no story that they have provided us, but we can kind of make out a story based on the things that we see. That is a bit of a negative, but when it comes to a game like a roguelike game like Risk of Rain, Atomic Panic, Vampire Survivor, the story was never really the focus, so it's okay to kind of not really have anything to go back on. Now, when the game releases, I believe having an actual story to the game will definitely make it different from any roguelike that's out there at the moment. If we get an in-depth, slightly rich story, it'll definitely stand out. It'll make it different. It'll make it in its own cool way. But I do believe that they're gonna give us a story. It shouldn't be done with like extensive cutscenes or anything like that. Maybe, you know, like records you can find. If you guys are familiar with the ARC system of telling a story, you find these notes, these recordings. They basically tell you a little bit about the story, and I think that's what they should do here. They should add like recordings. I'm thinking, because everything has like a retro look to it with a futuristic spin, so you got like this arcade system, right? But it obviously looks futuristic. It'd be cool if you'd find these vinyl discs, but they're actually like holographic discs. So you find these vinyl disc, it's a hologram, and then it tells you a bit about the story. So if players want to know about the story, they can head here to the, you know, discoveries, go to a section, you know, vinyl hologram or whatever, and then they can listen to the story or read what the story has to offer. And for those who just want to play the game, you know, they collected it, like, oh cool, I collected a thing, let's go run another one. Although that's just a suggestion, I'm not too sure how they're planning to implement the story element of the game, but I'm excited to find out more about it. The difficulty the game has to offer. So I've seen two sides of the spectrum here. I've seen players who have an extremely easy time with the game. Those are players like me, but some of us, or most of us, played, you know, the alphas, the betas, and now we're playing the early access. So we're having an easier time kind of getting through the game because we already know the boss mechanics, the monster mechanics, good perks, and how most of the system works. Now there are other players that probably kind of completely trample through this and haven't played the game at all, but they're probably used to survival, roguelike survival games like that. Now, if you are a god player for some reason and whatever controller you touch, you really that cool. I get it, all right? That you had an easy time with the game, but I think the game is in a perfect spot right now in difficulty. For newer players, I'm hearing that they're having a hard time, but that makes sense for a roguelike game where you're supposed to farm and get stronger. Because as you continue playing the game will get easier. You will get resources so you can go ahead and buy more discovery, upgrade your mementos. You will unlock characters that make some situations easier, making builds that you prefer easier. Now, if you really are having a hard time, the only perks you really do need to get past most of the game, or I got to the end game and finished the boss, is only 3 perks in your speed, right here. You can go ahead and put 3 perks in damage, max out your defense, 3 points in your health. With that, you can complete the game. That's all I needed. Now, of course, it's going to be different for everybody else. Getting some XP earlier would make it easier, so put points in here. Getting some money so you can upgrade your mementos faster. You know, maybe put a couple points in your money, your little cat. But even if what I suggested and you're still having a hard time, keep playing, keep collecting those pebbles, and purchase whatever you need to make the game easier for you. Okay, eventually the game will become doable if you're having a hard time. Now, do I think the game is extremely easy? No, absolutely not. There was a time where they reduced the difficulty below what it currently is, and I was able to collect every buff, beat the game that they had to offer at the time in one day, one sitting. Maybe it took me like 6 hours. And to tell you the truth, that was not really fun. Well, I had fun for the first, while I was going through it. Once I beat it, it kind of lost. It was too easy. Right now, I think it's at a perfect difficulty. I died a few times when I just started playing because I had to farm everything again. And then, of course, I still die even though I'm maxed out. There are still times where where I just make a terrible decision and I die. I think the game's in a perfect difficulty. I don't think you need to reduce it. If you want to make it harder, I can say okay to that. But I think at the moment, it's at a good place. It's in a perfect place for difficulty. And then, of course, when it comes to playing with more players, because this game was definitely focused around having a multiplayer system, the game, it really depends whether it gets easier or harder. If everybody has a hard time with the game, obviously having more mobs is going to make the game much more difficult. But if you happen to get one player who knows what they're doing, it actually makes the game a lot easier for those players who are having a hard time. If you're having a hard time, find one player who knows what they're doing and they'll probably more than likely carry you. If you want to have a difficult time, then just play with a bunch of new players who don't know what they're doing, go through it, or just play solo. Learn the game that way. The game's very much doable in the state that it is now, and I think it's perfect. Let's go ahead and head over to our next topic here, and that's our replayability of the game. Even though I'm fully built, I'm still playing the game. I hop in here every now and then, do a couple runs because it's fun. The game is very addictive. The perks and cures that you can get and the combinations at the moment, it's enough for an early access, and it allows you to kind of test out builds, a variety of builds to see how fun they are. You got dash builds, you got jump builds, you got auto attack builds, you got reload builds. Got dash. Did I say dash already? Well, I'll say dash again because that one is probably the build that I had the most fun with. It's definitely not the strongest, but it's really fun. So you just got a variety of things that you can do, and then you can mix match, and it's just cool to see it happen and see the screen get filled with light. There are different kinds of paths you can go down. And so far, I've found that every path allows me to complete the game without too many issues. What I mean by that is I can do a dash build and still beat the boss. I can do the jump build and still beat the boss. I have even just randomly taken whatever I felt like that didn't resolve any kind of, that didn't end in any kind of path, and I was still able to kill the boss. So the perks, while they may not seem powerful, they are all good and useful in their own way. You just gotta play towards the strength of the material you chose. And because of that, it got me coming back to see, hey, can I complete the game in this way? So the replayability is very good. It's very high up there, and I'm still like messing around, either trying to do runs with only grenade, ice grenade, only the rojo grenade, which is like a firecracker type grenade. So yeah, I would say I'm constantly coming back, just trying new things, or just trying a build I've already done just because it's fun. I would like to talk about some issues that the game has. As far as me playing through it, there's only a few issues that I've had, and that is with my game crashing. For me, it would crash after 6 hours or so, but from what I understood, some people playing in multiplayer have experienced the crash as well, but they experienced it sooner. So that got me thinking, what could that be? What could be causing hold on, my phone was going off, so I threw it. All right. So what could be causing the game to crash? I discussed it with a few players. They thought maybe it was a perk that was causing the game to crash. They believed it was like this tornado perk that was just causing like a frame drop or something like that would cause the game to freak out. But then I spoke to somebody else, and what they were saying kind of made a lot of sense with what I was experiencing, and it had to do with the body count of the game, of the monsters, and a memory leak. And I think this is what's going on, because this also apparently happened to Risk of Rain, and that's when these body counts, the monsters die, they don't get reset per run. So the count of the dead creatures or mobs remain kind of in the background, and this causes the game to have a type of memory leak, which causes the game to crash. Let me see if I can pull up something here. So what happens is like when a game has a way to kind of count how many of the minions or the spawns have died, it keeps these bodies in a separate we'll just say kind of like room, so I can count it later. And at the end of the run, it's supposed to clear it, but I believe what's happening is that this count isn't clearing and it just keeps stacking. And the reason it took me 6 hours is because I have no friends and I play solo, and that means it'll take longer for this body count to kind of go up. But people who are having these multiplayer sessions and crashing earlier, obviously they had more mobs, more bodies, it count faster, and you know, you'd get it count faster and higher, and it'll hit that range where it'll cause the game to crash. That's what I think is happening. So I do believe it's a memory leak. Hopefully they can figure out a way, you know, to work around it. I understand that they're working on it. They've done a couple updates stating that, you know, the issue's been resolved, but we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and stay up to date with it and see if the issue has actually resolved. So far I haven't experienced it lately. It might still be going on, but we'll go ahead and keep playing the game and see how it goes. Now, the other issue that I've known people were talking about was their multiplayer session dropping, and this could be a bad connection between the host or the player, because at the moment they have us using these picnic IDs. Sorry. So they got us using these picnic IDs where you would copy, they would send it to a friend, and then they paste it here, and then you join the picnic. Now, the problem with this is that it relies on the host having a good connection. If they have a faulty connection and they get disconnected, everybody else disconnects from the game as well. Now, let's head back to that memory leak issue I talked about, because what could be happening is that this host is hitting that peak of the memory leak issue, and their game crashes. And the problem with working off a host is if they get disconnected, everybody gets disconnected. From what I understand, they are planning to do like a server-based queue system, so we're not hosts anymore. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know, because I'd like to make that correction. But from what I understand, the picnic ID and the host being a player being the host for the game, it's only temporary. Let's go ahead and let's get to the end of this here. All right, so what's my overall impression of the game? I love it. I love this game. You get a lot of gameplay for $20. It took me at least 3 days to completely max out my curios and unlocking everything and discovering everything. There was one issue I was having trying to unlock a discovery, so that took me like 5 days or so, and that was doing the I believe it was the dodges for Bonnie. And that's because I didn't realize it wasn't counting my air dashes, it wasn't counting my ground dashes. It was only counting the combination of doing a jump dash, or not jump dash, sorry. I had to do a grapple dash, and that counted as one. I don't know if it's intended to be like that, and if anybody else is having that issue, please let me know. But that's the only time it would count my dashes for Bonnie's discovery. Hopefully that's been fixed. Maybe it was just a me issue, but I'd just like to know if anybody else experienced it. And then, of course, like I said, this game's still in early access, so this is to be expected. They did early access the way I think early access should be done, a way to support the game. not the way some of these other AAA games are baiting players into you know, fear of missing out and having them to spend $100 just to be in early access. I really hate that. I've actually did that once, and that was with the I'm not really gonna get into it, but I did not like I was extremely disappointed. I'm never doing that again. Now, if it's early access to support the dev team and to test out the gameplay and see if there's any issues, 100% for it. I will give you the early access. I will pay the money to be in that early access if I'm helping you test out and improve the game. So what do I believe the greatest strength for this game would be? Now, I love a lot about this game. I really do. So it varies from like the addictive gameplay, the unique art style, or the killer music that I have to listen that we listen to through our playthroughs. But if I really had to choose one, it's definitely the gameplay. You can tell that the devs put all their focus on the gameplay, where gameplay was absolutely the priority. They have a variety of curios that we can use. They got multiple characters, they got multiple weapons, devices. They added a bunch of levels. Like, they definitely focused on making sure the game was fun to play, it was smooth to play, that the characters reacted the way we wanted them to, that the abilities worked the way we expect them to work. So if I had to choose anything, as much as I love the music, the gameplay is definitely their focus here, and I think that's important, especially for a roguelike survival. There are I do wish they had more variety in their music, which they're saying they're gonna add. They're gonna add more tracks, but for now we only got 3. So let's go ahead and let's wait impatiently for the other tracks, because if their current music says anything, that those newer tracks are gonna be pretty good as well. The biggest negative about this game, I would say, is probably the lack of story. But to tell you the truth, when it comes to a roguelike survival, if the most negative thing you gotta say about it is the story, it's honestly not a big deal. I haven't played a survival roguelike that has like an intense or a story-rich, environment for me to go investigate. But if they are able to include that, I think that'll be a huge plus. Because it'll definitely make them different from other roguelikes that I've played. A good story with an amazing gameplay, it's great. That's perfect, right? What else can you ask for when you have great music, great gameplay, and great story? So all in all, the devs, they've done an amazing job with Atomic Picnic. Good job to Mad Mushroom and Big Kate for releasing like this top tier game. I 100% recommend this game to any player who is fond of roguelikes, or if you're just looking for a good co-op game to play with like some friends, right? Because like I said, you can queue up with 4 people, and you can head out to a picnic, and you can all die together as friends. And even when we all died, I don't think I've had a bad time playing this game. Even when we've all managed to die, it's been great. So if you guys have any questions about Atomic Picnic, you want to ask me anything about it, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. I'm gonna go ahead and make another video on the roadmap on what's happening, on what's to be expected, and some other recommendations I have for this. All right, I'll see you guys later. I hope you guys enjoy Atomic Picnic as much as I did. Leave a like, subscribe, and hit me up on Twitch if you guys ever want to talk about anything. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.